Amen.
Amen.
So I'm scheduled to speak for 6 times here at this camp meeting.
Mal by som hovoriť 6 krát na tomto camp meetingu.
I'm intending to cover 3 subjects.
Chcem pokryť 3 témy.
And let's see how far we come.
Uvidíme, ako sa nám to podarí.
And the first thing I want to talk about
Prvá vec, o ktorej chcem hovoriť,
is a little bit of a personal testimony.
je také osobné svedectvo.
I'll explain more once we get to it.
Vysvetlím viac, keď k tomu prídeme.
The second subject I want to talk about
Druhá téma, o ktorej chcem
is
hovoriť,
about the current shaking we have in this movement
je o tom triebení, ktoré teraz máme
and the separation which is taking place.
a rozdelenie, ktoré sa deje.
And I know many presentations have been done about that.
A viem, že už o tom bolo spravených mnoho prezentácií,
Yet I also want to share some thoughts
ale tiež by som sa chcela o niečom podeliť,
which I think give some extra information.
Ktoré dávajú takú informáciu navyše.
And the third and last subject I will be covering
A tá tretia téma, ktorú by som chcela spomenúť,
is that I want to dive into a subject
chcem vojsť do témy,
which I really enjoy,
ktorá
and
sa mi,
it's about the type of governments
ktorú mám veľmi rada, a sú to typy vlád
throughout Earth's history.
v dejinách.
So that being said,
Jak som to povedala.
let's speak about section number 1.
Takže poďme začať s tým prvým.
I recently have been studying a lot project management.
V poslednej dobe veľa študujem management.
When you work for a ministry,
Keď pracujete pre služobnosť,
you will realize that there's a lot of project management you have to do.
mnoho vecí musíte vedieť zmanéžovať.
And the more you know about how to handle projects, the better.
Čím viac viete o tom, ako sa vysporiadať s projektami, tým lepšie.
And as I started looking into that subject,
Keď som začala rozoberať túto tému,
trying to learn to be more efficient with my daily work,
chcela som byť efektívnejšia s tou mojou každodennou prácou,
I actually realized
uvedomila som si,
that this is a reform line.
že toto je reformná línia.
So when we look at God,
Keď sa pozrieme na Boha,
I think he has many jobs.
myslím, že on toho musí robiť veľmi veľa, má mnoho prác.
We spoke already about one today.
O jednom sme už hovorili.
He, for example, is a farmer.
Je farmár,
That's the agriculture model.
to je poľnohospodársky model.
We also know that he is a constructor.
Tiež vieme, že je staviteľ,
He creates the temple.
tvorí
And I have
chrám.
one more suggestion.
A ešte mám jeden návrh.
I think that God is also project manager.
Myslím, že Boh je aj taký manažer
So I'm not sure
projektov.
how long it will take.
Nie som si istá, koľko to bude trvať.
I'm pretty sure it will take this one class we are having together.
Asi nám to zaberie toto jedno stretnutie.
But in this presentation, I would like to bring across a few principles
Chcela by som priniesť niekoľko princípov,
which are essential
ktoré sú
if
potrebné,
you want to be efficient project manager.
ak chcete efektívne robiť
And all these
management.
principles,
A tieto princípy
God uses on a reform line.
Boh používa na reformnej línii.
And for me,
Pre mňa,
for me personally, that's the most significant witness,
pre mňa osobne toto je taký najväčší svedok,
secular witness,
sekulárny,
that the way we construct our reform lines is correct.
že spôsob, ako dávame dohromady naše reformné línie, je správny.
So this would be a way to approach and construct a reform line
Toto je spôsob, ako prísť k reformnej línii
without using the Bible
bez
and
Biblie
without using Ellen White.
Ellen Whiteovej.
And yet we will come to the same
A
conclusion.
prídeme k rovnakému záveru.
And as I studied that,
Ako to študujem,
and I saw that, I was so overwhelmed.
keď som to videla, bola som z toho úžasnutá.
finding that jewel,
keď som našla tento poklad,
that's why I say it's a personal testimony.
preto vravím, že to je osobné svedectvo.
Okay, so let's talk about projects.
Takže poďme hovoriť o projektoch.
When you have a project,
Keď máte projekt,
the first lesson you learn is that it's something unique.
prvé, čo sa naučíte, je, že je to niečo jedinečné.
A project doesn't take place every day in normal life.
Projekt nerobíte každý deň v normálnom živote.
It has a specific beginning and a specific end.
Má svoj špecifický koniec aj začiatok. Tá
So
začiatok a
it's
koniec.
just there for a certain time period.
Je to tam len určitý čas.
And a project is being done because of a certain goal.
A ten projekt robíte s určitým cieľom.
And in order to accomplish that goal,
Na to, aby ste dosiahli tento
you
cieľ,
have different tasks,
máte rôzne
which are unique just for that project.
úlohy, ktoré sú jedinečné pre ten daný projekt.
And you have to also consider in certain resources.
A musíte zvážiť aj určité zdroje.
For example, costs.
Uh,
But one thing which is really interesting for me is
Vec, čo je pre mňa zaujímavá, je,
that you also have to factor in time.
že musíte zahrnúť do toho aj čas.
A project has a beginning and an end.
Projekt má začiatok a koniec.
So the element of time is very important if you want to accomplish a project.
Ten časový element je veľmi dôležitý, ak chcete nejaký projekt spraviť.
So obviously, there's much more principles to project management.
Projektovému manažmentu je viac princípov. Oveľa
I'm going to
viac.
draw out just those principles which I was able to parallel with reform lines.
Ja chcem ukázať tie, ktoré som vedela dať do paralely s reformnou líniou.
I'm sure if you dig deeper, you will find even more.
Som si istá, ak budete viac hľadať, nájdete viac.
So if we think about a reform line,
Keď rozmýšľame o reformnej línii
and we consider those elements I just mentioned,
a zvážime tieto elementy, o ktorých som hovorila,
which makes a project so unique,
ktoré robia projekt unikátnym,
I think the first and most simple one is
myslím, že ten prvý a najjednoduchší
that a project has a beginning and an end.
je to, že projekt má začiatok a koniec.
So we would have here a beginning,
Takže tu by sme mali začiatok
and here we would have an end.
a tu koniec.
And this time span here is our project.
A tento čas to je náš
So
projekt.
how would we call this now in the terms we use for reform lines?
Ako by sme toto nazvali vlastne v tej našej terminológii reformných línií?
It's the alpha.
Je to alfa.
And what do we call our first waymark on a reform line?
Ako nazývame ten prvý
It's the time of the
milník?
end.
Čas konca.
So I'm calling this toe now, time of the end.
Čas konca.
And if you're familiar with reform lines,
Ak poznáte reformné línie,
we know that there's a time period of darkness beforehand.
vieme, že predtým je temnota.
And what happens from this point on?
A čo sa deje odtiaľto ďalej?
Light comes, right?
Príde svetlo.
So this is a turning point.
Toto je bod obratu.
And previously, years ago,
Pred rokmi
we would have said this is the end of a time prophecy.
by sme povedali, že toto je záver proroctva.
But recently, what have we been saying?
Nedávno sme čo začali hovoriť?
What was more our emphasis?
Čo je náš taký väčší...
This is not so much as end as it is what?
To nie je tak veľmi koniec, ako je to čo?
It's a beginning.
Je to začiatok.
It's a beginning of this time span,
Začiatok tohto časového
or
obdobia.
how we would call it now.
Alebo ako my by sme to
A
nazvali, projektu.
So this is our beginning, time of the end.
To je náš začiatok, čas konca.
We know a project starts.
Vieme, že začína projekt.
What would we call this waymark,
Ako by sme nazvali tento milník?
which is the end of our project?
Čo je koniec nášho projektu.
What would we call this on our reform line?
Ako to nazveme na našej reformnej línii?
Close of probation.
Záver milosti.
So some said the second coming.
Niektorí povedali druhý príchod.
We will talk more about the end. There's more to it.
Viac budeme hovoriť ešte na konci, tam je toho viac.
So just keep following the logic.
Tak len sledujte tú logiku.
So this is the close of probation.
Toto je záver milosti.
This is the end of the project.
Toto je koniec projektu.
This reform line is simply a project.
Táto reformná línia je jednoducho projekt.
So let's see if we can see more principles of project management within a reform line.
Poďme sa pozrieť, či môžeme vidieť viac princípov v tomto manažmente na reformnej línii.
One very important fact about the beginning of a project is
Jeden dôležitý fakt ohľadne začiatku projektu je,
that you mark its beginning.
že zaznačíme jeho začiatok.
I want to remind ourselves,
Chcem vám pripomenúť,
these are very, very simple principles we're going to address here.
že tu budem hovoriť o veľmi jednoduchých princípoch.
But these simple principles often are underestimated.
Ale často ich podceňujeme.
And that's why it caused a lot of problems in our world.
A to spôsobilo v našom svete mnoho problémov.
And that's why project managers are actually in high need.
A preto je sú potrební manažeri.
So what I'm saying is those small, simple principles are very important.
Tieto jednoduché princípy sú veľmi dôležité.
One rule is that you have a definite beginning of the project and you have to make it that way that everyone sees that this is the beginning.
To jedno pravidlo je, že musíte mať začiatok projektu a každý vie, že je to začiatok.
And this is important because
Toto je dôležité, pretože
otherwise the co-workers will not know what they have to do. Are we already in the project? Not. What is going on?
inak spolupracovníci nebudú vedieť, čo majú robiť. Už sme začali ten projekt, nie, čo máme robiť.
It causes inefficiency.
Spôsobuje to takú nedostatočnosť
And a loss of orientation.
a stratu orientácie.
I'm taking this from my book here. And I think this is why God marks the beginning of every reform line with a time of the end.
Preto Boh zaznačuje každú reformnú líniu s časom konca.
He makes a definite cut and says, this is where my project starts.
A on hovorí, tu začína môj projekt.
So he can have a very efficient project
Takže môže mať efektívny projekt
and no one has to lose orientation.
a nikto nemusí stratiť orientáciu.
So this is the time of the end.
Toto je čas konca.
And I don't want to mark now, we could put 1798 there actually.
Mohli by sme dať 1798.
And the close of probation would be Daniel 12:1.
A záver milosti
So
by
before
bol
we
Daniel
continue
12.1.
here,
Predtým, ako pokračujeme,
we spoke a little bit about the beginning. Let's speak a little bit more about the end.
hovorili sme o začiatku, poďme teraz hovoriť o konci.
So there are actually three components to the end.
Sú 3 komponenty konca.
Firstly, it's suggested that the end is the end of a project after you spend some time period together as a team.
Potom, ako strávite,
It's suggested in the rules of management
taký je návrh v tých
that when
pravidlách,
the end of a project has come
že keď príde koniec projektu
and you're about done,
a už takmer dokončujete,
that after the team has been together working for a certain time period,
potom ako ten tím pracoval spoločne nejakú dobu,
that it's important to create the end in a special way.
je dôležité vytvoriť ten koniec určitým spôsobom.
And this reminded me of the second coming.
Toto mi pripomenulo druhý príchod.
Because when the project is done,
Keď je ten projekt
what
hotový,
does God do?
čo urobí Boh?
He comes with all his glory and his angels.
Príde so svojou slávou a anielmi.
He puts a lot of effort into the way how he's coming back to earth.
A dá veľké úsilie na to, akým spôsobom príde na zem.
And when we look at the end of a project, we will see it has 3 steps.
Keď sa pozrieme na koniec projektu, uvidíme, že má 3 kroky, 3 stupne.
So the first step
Ten prvý krok
is that you have the goal met.
je, že máme
You're doing the project to meet a goal.
Robíme ten projekt, aby sme
Let's
dosiahli
say
určitý
you're
cieľ.
developing a web page for a company.
Napríklad chceme vytvoriť nejakú webovú stránku.
At this point,
V tomto bode
this goal would be met.
Toto sme
The
dosiahli.
web page would have been concluded.
Tá webová stránka bude hotová,
But there are two more steps you have to take
ale ešte musíme spraviť 2 ďalšie kroky,
in order to conclude the entire thing.
aby sme to celé
The
uzavreli.
second thing
Druhá vec je,
that you make the thing is I'm studying this in German, so I don't know all the words in English.
ja toto študujem po nemecky, všetky slova v angličtine neviem.
So at the end you do a analysis, I think that's the word,
Urobíte analýzu na
of
konci
the entire project.
celého projektu.
That's the German word. So the goal is met. Then you analyze the entire project.
Cieľ ste dosiahli, potom analyzujete ten projekt.
And then the third step
A tretí krok
is now that the team and everything was created,
je, že vy, celý ten tím
dissolves.
Sa rozpustí.
And it's free now for new projects or so on.
A už sú slobodní na nový projekt.
If we think about our reform line,
Keď rozmýšľame o našej reformnej línii,
and now I'm wiping out 1798,
teraz vymažem 1798,
because if we think about our world's history,
keď rozmýšľame o dejinách
What would this
nášho
be?
sveta, čo by toto bolo?
what is at the beginning?
Čo je na začiatku?
Darkness, right?
Temnota.
And what does God create?
A čo Boh vytvorí?
The earth, light, and so on.
Zem, svetlo a tak ďalej.
So this is actually the beginning of our earth.
Toto je začiatok našej zeme.
Remember, God comes together with Christ,
Pamätajte, Pán prichádza s nami,
and what do they say?
s Kristom a čo povie?
Let's make man in
Urob-
our image, right?
Urobme človeka na náš obraz.
They want to create earth.
Chcú vytvoriť
It's a
zem.
project.
To je projekt.
So this is the beginning of earth.
Toto je začiatok tej zeme.
Then you have the 6,000 years of earth
Potom máme 6000 rokov
till you come to the close probation.
zeme až po záver milosti.
Christ returns.
Kristus sa vráti.
And what do you think?
A čo si myslíme?
What is this analysis? Where you analyze things?
Ako to analyzujeme?
How long? I suggest these are the 1,000 years.
Toto je tých 1000 rokov.
The entire project is analyzed.
Celý projekt je analyzovaný.
And then at the end,
A na konci,
when is everything dissolved?
kedy sa všetko rozpustí?
When the new world comes.
Keď príde nová
That's
zem.
why we have, after the close of probation, we have still some work to do.
Preto po závere milosti máme stále nejakú prácu.
I know we also have the 7 plagues.
Viem, že je tam aj 7 rán.
So we have the close of probation,
Takže máme
we
záver
have
milosti.
the 1,000 years where the books are being opened
1000 rokov, kde sú otvorené
and
knihy
analyzed.
a analyzované.
And at the end, you have the destruction of the wicked,
Na konci máme zničenie tých bezbožných,
the destruction of this earth,
celej zeme,
and then you have the new earth.
a potom máme novú zem.
So I'm putting new earth here.
Sem dávam novú zem.
The transition to the new earth.
To je prechod na tú novú
So I
zem.
suggest that we really see how God is having a project.
Takže naozaj by sme mali vidieť, ako Boh robí projekt.
When you do a project,
Keď robíte projekt,
what you need to do is that your project will have different phases.
ten projekt potrebuje mať niekoľko fáz.
There's a German saying,
V nemčine sa
if you
hovorí,
don't have it in your brain, you'll have it in your feet.
Ak to nemáte v hlave, budete to mať v petách.
Which means if you didn't think about it beforehand,
Ak ste si to poriadne nepremysleli,
you will have to walk much more at the end.
nachodíte sa veľa.
So it's the same with a project.
Tak je to aj s projektom.
Before you actually start doing the work,
Predtým, ako začnete robiť tú prácu,
think about it.
rozmýšľajte nad tým.
What is all the work you have to do?
Čo je všetká tá práca, čo musíte spraviť?
Which way do you want to do it?
Ako to chcete spraviť?
What way? And what are the rules?
Aké sú pravidlá?
Who do you need for your project?
Koho na to potrebujete?
Who will be your co-workers and so on?
Kto bude s vami spolupracovať?
And what do you think? What does that sound like?
Ako to znie? Čo myslíte?
You're starting a project
Začínate projekt,
and you're starting then to think about your project
rozmýšľate o tom,
and how it actually will be put into realization.
a ako sa to má realizovať.
I suggest
Ja
it's the increase of knowledge.
si myslím, že to je rast poznania.
This is where you get the knowledge about your project.
Tam dostanete poznanie o svojom projekte.
And then you formalize it.
Potom to sformalizujete.
We know the waymark of formalization.
Poznáme milník formalizácie.
If we remember
Ak si
from
pamätáte
previous studies,
z tých minulých štúdií,
William Miller in 1818
William Miller v
had
1818
all the information he needed.
mal všetky informácie, ktoré potreboval.
It's already in a public domain. I don't think I have to repeat the study.
Nemyslím, že to musím opakovať.
Everything comes after
Všetko, čo príde
is
potom,
just a refinement of what he already knew here.
je len také vylepšenie toho, čo už poznal.
The same for our waymark.
A rovnako je to pre náš milník,
The same for a project.
pre projekt.
Everything you need to know for your project,
Všetko, čo potrebujete vedieť, aby ste
you
poznali
have
ten
in
projekt,
this little phase here,
to máte tu.
which is called the kick-off phase.
A to sa nazýva taká fáza, také
And in this
nakopnutie.
phase,
A v tejto fáze
you also create a little book
vytvoríte malú knižku,
in which you will write all the rules
kde napíšete všetky pravidlá
and the way how your project is to be put into realization.
a uvidíte, ako budete realizovať ten projekt.
And I really like this little book
Páči sa mi táto knižka.
because that's something we often talk about.
My o tom hovoríme často.
We often talk about the little book.
Hovoríme o malej knižke.
I'm not sure if you are realizing what I'm saying here.
Neviem, či si uvedomujete, čo hovorím.
If you follow the movements of this movement,
Ak následujete hnutie tohto hnutia, alebo hnutia,
Bewegungen dieser Bewegung, you will know certain accusations we are facing.
zistíte, že čelíme obvineniu.
One, for example, is,
Napríklad jedno z nich,
let me come to it later, but I'm saying now something and later we come back to it.
ja sa k tomu vrátim, ale teraz to len poviem.
It is very important to understand
Je veľmi dôležité rozumieť,
that in the beginning phase of a project,
že na začiatku
you set the
projektu
rules for that project.
sa dajú pravidlá toho projektu.
And these rules are just and only for that project.
A oni sú len pre ten projekt. Tieto
And I'll
pravidlá.
come back to that because I think this solves a lot of the accusations we're facing today.
Ja sa k tomu ešte vrátim, pretože si myslím, že to odpovedá na mnoho z tých obvinení, ktorým čelíme teraz.
So everything you need in a project is in the beginning of this phase. You think about it, you plan it, you formalize it.
Čiže všetko, čo poznáme, je vlastne v tejto fáze. Porozmýšľame o tom a dáme to do knižky, sformujeme to.
And then you have certain phases.
A máme určité fázy.
For example, you can say the design,
Napríklad
the implementation, the refinements, or whatsoever. You can
Sú
put
rôzne-
everything in what you want to.
sú rôzne fázy toho projektu.
Doesn't this sound like what we do?
Neznie to ako to, čo my robíme.
with our reform lines.
S našimi reformnými
Let's
líniami.
take our agriculture model.
Zoberme napríklad poľnohospodársky
I'll
model.
put the book up here.
Dám sem knižku.
What do we call this phase here in the beginning?
Ako nazývame túto fázu na začiatku?
It's the plowing.
To je orba.
What is this phase?
Čo je táto fáza?
The former rain, right?
Ranný dážď.
Then
Potom
later rain.
neskorý dážď.
And then, oh sorry, I did it wrong. The sowing takes place while the former
Siatie.
rain is coming down. Same dispensation. And
Siatie
here we have the
je
harvest.
v tej istej epoche ako ranný dážď.
Christ is coming back. So also we have different phases
Takže máme rôzne fázy
on our reform lines.
na našej reformnej línii.
If we look at our reform lines, we'll see that every dispensation has the same rules.
Keď pozrieme na naše reformné línie, každé obdobie má svoje pravidlá.
We could also call it the same pattern.
Rovnaké vzorce.
But is the work the same?
Ale je tá práca tá istá?
Do we plow in each of these dispensations?
Orieme v každej tejto epoche?
No.
Nie.
And it's important for us to know
Pre nás je dôležité vedieť,
that at one point we need to plow,
že v jednom bode musíme
one point
orať,
we need to sow,
v druhom siať,
next point we need to watch,
potom sledovať,
see the difference between wheat and tares,
vidieť rozdiel medzi
and then we
pšenicou a
harvest.
kúkolom a potom je žatva.
Matthew 13.
Matúš 13.
Yet it's based upon all the same principles of that project, reform line.
Je to založené na tých istých princípoch tej istej reformnej línie.
Yet it's important to know where we are in history so we know what work we have to do.
Je dôležité vedieť, kde sme v dejinách, aby sme vedeli, akú prácu máme konať.
Because the work will change.
Lebo to dielo sa zmení.
That's why we have maybe a different message than we had 4 years ago.
Preto máme iné posolstvo, ako sme mali pred 4 rokmi.
5 years, sorry. But it still is based upon the same rules,
Ale je to založené na rovnakých pravidlách.
which were given here. Let me see. And what do we call these little things here?
Ako nazývame tieto malé veci tu?
Waymarks.
Milníky.
Isn't it interesting
Nie je to zaujímavé,
that in project management
že v manažmente
you
projektov
have a milestone technique,
máme
which is
techniku
essentially
milníkov.
waymarks.
To sú milníky.
So let's consider milestones, waymarks.
Tak zvážme milníky.
So when you look at the secular definition,
Keď pozrieme na sekulárnu definíciu,
you see that it's specific events
sú to určité udalosti
or appointments
alebo stretnutia
or specific things which are happening, let's put it that way,
zvláštne veci, ktoré robíme,
or control points.
alebo určité body.
And what do you do on these control points?
Čo robíme v týchto bodoch?
We could also call them checkpoints.
Sú to také...
Kontrollpunkte. Checkpoint Charlie, yeah, we know that one. Okay, so you control how your project is doing.
Sú to body, kde sa kontroluje, ako sa nám darí s tým projektom.
So if you start a project,
Takže keď začnete projekt,
you first think about it,
najprv o tom rozmýšľate,
what you want to do, the way how you want to do, what rules, what is your team.
čo chcete robiť, ako to chcete robiť, kto je váš tím.
And you take your project and you divide it in different phases.
Vezmete si ten projekt a rozdelíte ho na viaceré
Why do you do
fázy.
that? Because you want to be very efficient.
Chcete to spraviť preto,
You
aby
don't
ste
want to
boli
lose anything,
efektívni.
no resources.
Nechcete stratiť žiadne
And
zdroje.
that's between those different phases you create checkpoints.
A Vytvoríte
And
si
at
tieto
these
body
checkpoints, you see
kontroly
how your project is doing.
a zistíte, ako sa vám darí s tým projektom.
So you go here and you see the phase is completed. You are arrived at your first checkpoint.
Takže prišli ste k tomu prvému kontrolnému bodu,
And then you look,
skontrolujete,
how's my project doing?
pozrieme sa, ako sa darí projektu.
Here you created a plan.
Tu ste urobili plán
And at these checkpoints, you control, am I timely?
a kontrolujete, či ste dobre na tom s časom.
Did I do enough? Did I do well?
Spravil som, čo bolo treba, spravil som to dobre,
Did I reach the goal for this checkpoints?
dosiahol som to, čo bolo treba.
It's extremely significant for project management, these milestones.
Tieto milníky sú veľmi dôležité v manažmente.
And from the Bible and Ellen White,
Z Biblie aj Ellen
you
Whiteovej
already know how important these waymarks are.
vieme, aké sú dôležité tieto milníky.
But I want to give them a little bit of a new touch, a
Ale
new
chcem
emphasis.
tomu dať taký nový rozmer.
They're checkpoints.
Sú to také
God
body
is
kontroly.
checking how his project is doing at these milestones.
Boh kontroluje, ako sa darí tomu
And
projektu.
at those waymarks,
A v týchto
he's entering
milníkoch
into a new phase.
vchádzame do novej
Plowing
fázy.
is completed, check.
Orba skončila, poďme to skontrolovať.
Now we start the former rain.
Začína sa ranný
And we have
dážď.
this time for the former rain.
A potom máme na ten
So you heard me repeatedly
ranný čas taký
say
a taký čas. Počuli ste, čo som hovorila?
that time is very important for project management.
Že čas je veľmi dôležitý pre management.
What do we have today on our reform line? What are we saying?
Čo dnes máme na reformnej línii?
What is the Laodicean condition?
Aký je stav Laodice?
One emphasis of Laodicea is that they have no time.
Jedna vlastnosť Laodice je, že nemajú
But when
čas.
God starts a project,
Ale keď Boh začne projekt
a reform line,
reformnej
what
línie,
does he introduce?
čo zavedie?
Time, every single time.
Za každým na reformnej línii je čas.
So even for the last project at the end of the world,
Aj ten posledný projekt na konci
the
sveta,
reform line of the 144,000,
reformná línia 144
from the
000,
very beginning,
od začiatku
he's introducing time
zavádza čas.
because it's unique.
Lebo je to niečo
It's a
jedinečné.
project.
Je to projekt.
It has rules just for that one project.
Má to pravidla presne na ten projekt.
And there's the element of time always essentially attached to it.
A ten element času je vždy k tomu pripojený.
So one thing which I find also really interesting,
Jedna vec, ktorá sa mi zdá zaujímavá,
I had to smile with that one.
nad tým sa musím pousmiať.
So when you're young in this movement,
Ak ste mladí v tomto hnutí,
you're probably familiar with one joke.
asi poznáte taký vtip,
And I think I can tell it now because Parminder's not here.
myslím, že to môžem povedať, Parminder tu nie je.
Because we always say that Parminder says, "Oh, it's about the journey. It's about the journey."
Parminder vždy hovorí, je to o tej ceste, je to o tej ceste.
We're often focused on the end,
Zameriavame sa na koniec
and he says, "Now just enjoy today."
a on hovorí, nie, užite si dnešok.
Freu dich einfach über heute. So, and project management says the exact same thing.
Manažovanie projektu hovorí presne to isté.
In this phase,
V tejto
you will
fáze
set the rules
dáte
how
pravidla,
your project is being operated.
ako sa má s tým projektom robiť.
In project management, it's not so much about coming to the conclusion of the project,
To nie je o tom, že prísť k záveru projektu,
but it's more of the way you get there.
ale viac je to o tom spôsobe, ako tam prídete.
What is the method to come to this point?
Aká je to metóda, aby ste tam došli?
I know in this world there are two opinions.
Viem, že v tomto svete sú dva názory.
Some people like Donald Trump, for example.
Niektorým sa napríklad páči Donald Trump.
They're only focused on this point.
Zameraní sú len na toto.
With that, I mean not the close operation now, but the end of a project.
Na ten záver projektu.
He's focused on how much gain he will have at the end.
na to, koľko získa na konci.
He doesn't care how many people he has to fire in between.
A tomu je jedno, koľko ľudí medzi tým musí
But
vyhodiť.
if you look at the Democrat side, for example,
Keď sa pozrieme na demokratov,
or the opposite of such behavior like Trump's,
alebo na nejaký opačné správanie,
you
ako má
have people
Donald
who
Trump,
are actually really focused on how they bring quality to their project management.
sú ľudia, ktorí sa zameriavajú na kvalitu toho svojho manažmentu.
The team is doing well.
Aby ten tým sa mal dobre.
And also that
Aby sa mu
it's done
darilo.
in a really efficient way,
Aby to bolo urobené efektívne.
without many losses.
Bez nejakých strát.
And I'm suggesting that God operates in the same way.
Ja hovorím, že Boh tiež tak robí.
It's about the way things are being done.
Je to o spôsobe, ako sa veci robia.
That in mind,
To mi pripomína.
I'll do in our little application
Urobím takú aplikáciu.
to this board over here.
Sem.
How many people get frustrated?
Koľko ľudí je znechutených?
And again, I can talk about Brother Parminder now, he's not here.
Môžem hovoriť o bratovi Parmindrovi, nie je tu.
That sometimes he seems to be so scattered,
Že niekedy je nejako keby taký
or he
nespojitý.
takes so long to come to the conclusion,
Alebo to trvá dlho, kým niečo povie,
or what does he even want to say?
o čo mu vlastne ide.
I want to suggest that Brother Parminder is using the correct method.
Ja by som chcela povedať, že on používa správnu metódu.
His emphasis for years
On už roky dáva dôraz na to,
has been now, how do we come to a conclusion?
že ako prídeme k tomu záveru.
How do we come to say that the angel of Revelation 18 came down at 9/11?
Ako prídeme k tomu, že povieme, že anjel zo zjavenia 18 prišiel pri 9.11.
You have the opposite,
A máme opak.
where people just take quotes, apply them, and done.
Ľudia zoberú citát, aplikujú hotovo.
But our emphasis should be the way how we get there.
Ale náš zámer by mal byť, že ako sa tam dostaneme.
And that is this.
A to je toto.
And it takes a lot time.
A to zaberie čas.
But I think this is important, this is correct.
Ale myslím, že toto je správne a dôležité.
And I hope this encourages you the next time
Dúfam, že vás to povzbudí ďalší krát,
that you stay awake and you keep going with the study.
aby ste na budúce dávali
When he
pozor a
presents.
sledovali štúdium.
Okay, so interesting is also,
Tiež zaujímavé je,
when a project is being done, what do you need?
keď sa robí projekt, čo potrebujete?
Wenn es ein Projekt eingeführt wird. It depends on what form of project you're now conducting.
Závisí, jakú formu projektu
It
rozoberáte.
depends on what form of project you're conducting.
Závisí, akú formu projektu robíte.
But normally you always have a project manager.
Väčšinou máte manažera projektového.
What does that mean?
Čo to znamená?
You have a company.
Máte spoločnosť,
Let's say they want to have an event.
chcú mať nejakú udalosť
And often the leaders of that company do what?
a často vedúci robia čo?
They pick a person and say, you are now the project manager.
Vyberú človeka a povedia, ty si manažér,
So you lead everything, you organize
ty
everything.
to budeš viesť.
What would that be on our reform line? What do you think?
Čo by to bolo na našej reformnej línii? Čo myslíte?
Who would be a project manager on a reform line?
Čo by to bolo
The
čo by bol ten
messenger.
manažér? To by bol posol.
Just think about ancient Israel.
Porozmýšľajte o starovekom Izraeli.
Who was Moses?
To bol Mojžiš.
Moses was a messenger?
Bol to posol.
Was it his message?
Bolo to jeho
Was
posolstvo.
it his 10 commandments?
Bolo to jeho 10 prikázaní.
Was it his laws in Leviticus?
Bol to jeho zákon v Levitiku.
No.
Nie.
We often think that Moses was the one who did all of that.
Často si myslíme, že to bol Mojžiš, ktorý to spravil.
Especially the Jews at that time thought so.
Zvlášť Židia v tej dobe si to mysleli.
But we forget that Moses was just a manager of God.
Ale my zabudáme, že Mojžiš bol len manažér Boží.
God picked Moses and said, you manage my people.
Boh ho vybral a povedal, ty budeš viesť mojich ľudí.
You lead them.
Ty ich veď.
Great controversy, page 343, I believe.
Veľký spor 343.
43. We're all familiar with that quote.
Všetci poznáme ten citát.
It's that quote about God's dealing with man is ever the same.
Je to o tom, ako sa píše, že Boh s ľuďmi robí vždy rovnako.
Read the next paragraph.
Čítajte ďalší odstavec.
What does it say there?
Čo sa tam píše?
No truth is more clearly taught in the Bible inspiration, I'm not sure.
Žiadna pravda nie je jasnejšie učená
That
v
God
Biblii,
uses human beings
ako to, že Boh používa Božích ľudí,
to accomplish his will or tasks.
aby dosiahol svoju vôľu.
It was my paraphrase, but it's quite similar.
To som parafrazovala.
God uses every time when he has a project,
Vždy, keď má Boh projekt,
a project manager
používa
who is
manažera,
leading the project.
ktorý vedie projekt.
Those are the reform lines.
To sú reformné línie.
Moses, Elijah, William Miller,
Mojžiš, Eliáš, William Miller,
Noah,
Noah
or various others.
a ďalší.
What is though the problem when a project manager is being picked?
Aký je problém, keď je vybratý manažer?
And this is what the world says.
Toto hovorí svet.
One problem is that often co-workers do not accept that this person is chosen.
Problém je, že spolupracovníci často neakceptujú človeka, ktorý bol
So what
vybratý.
problem do you have here?
Aký tu máme problém?
This is the test of leadership.
To je skúška vodcovstva.
Where?
Kde?
At the very beginning.
Na začiatku.
That's why you see always this problem with leadership,
Preto vidíme vždy tento problém s vedením.
where people or brethren
Kde bratia a sestry,
do not accept the person God chose
neprijmú človeka, ktorého Boh vybral.
because maybe this person has been sitting next to them all the time.
Pretože tento človek vedľa nich celý čas sedel
And suddenly they're the manager,
a zrazu je manažérom
and you think there's nothing special about this person.
a si povieme, na ňom nie je nič nejaké špeciálne.
Why should this be now my boss?
Prečo by mal nado mnou vládnuť?
Well, just how it is in the natural, this world,
Tak, jak je to v prírodzenom tomto svete,
it is in the spiritual,
tak je aj v
or in the
duchovnom.
projects God does.
A v projektoch, ktoré
Test
robí
of
Boh,
discipleship.
to je skúška učeníctva,
Test of leadership.
vodcovstva.
If you've been long enough in this movement,
Ak ste v tomto hnutí dosť dlho,
you will realize that this is addressing some serious problems we had in the past and are still having in our movement.
viete, že to vlastne adresuje problémy, ktoré sme mali v minulosti a stále máme. Vážne problémy.
One thing I thought was really cool
Jedna vec, ktorá sa mi zdala naozaj zaujímavá,
was that a project is a unique undertaking,
bola, že projekt je
which is a
Unikat.
timely, it has a beginning and an end.
unikátna vec. Má začiatok a koniec.
So it's not day-to-day work, so to speak, for a company.
Nie je to každodenná práca.
And interesting is that it said that there's one rule,
Hovorilo sa tam, že je
is
jedno
that if you
pravidlo.
have a company
Ak máte spoločnosť
and you have a project,
a projekt,
you're starting a project,
začínate projekt,
the longer that project lasts,
čím dlhšie trvá,
it will cause problems with the establishment.
spôsobí problém v zriadení.
Let me see, I have it here. I said it mit der Firma, kannst du sagen. So you have the company.
Takže máme spoločnosť,
Let's say you have a company, but the company,
a tá
where it's being
spoločnosť
decided
sa
from the
rozhodla,
leadership. Let's say we have a company.
máme spoločnosť.
God is the owner.
Boh ju vlastní.
And what do you think? What is his company?
Čo si myslíte, aká je jeho spoločnosť?
Huh? His people?
Jeho ľudia?
Let's say his church.
Jeho
So his
cirkev.
church is a company.
Jeho cirkev je spoločnosť.
And God is the owner.
A Boh je vlastník.
And he decides now, I want to have a project.
A on sa rozhodne, ak chce mať projekt.
So here now he says, let's start a project.
A on povie, začnime projekt.
And the secular rule says,
A to sekulárne pravidlo hovorí,
the longer the project is in this company,
čím dlhšie ten projekt je v tej spoločnosti,
it contradicts and causes problem with the establishment.
dejú sa tam problémy v tom zriadení.
How does that sound to you?
Ako vám to znie?
It sounds cool? That's what I thought. Let's call the church
Nazvime
Jews.
cirkev.
Huh? Yeah, I forgot. It's too much German and English going on here. So you have the Jews,
Máme Židov.
and then God starts a project. And what does he call that project?
Boh začne projekt, ako ho nazve?
The Christian church, right?
Kresťanská cirkev.
And one question, what did the Christians cause for the Jews?
Čo kresťania spôsobili Židom?
Much problems.
Veľa problémov.
To the point
Až do takého bodu,
where this one stopped.
že toto
And
skončilo.
God just continues with this.
A Boh pokračoval s týmto.
We could take another example.
Môžeme zobrať ďalší príklad.
We have the Protestants.
Máme protestantov.
God has the Protestants as his church,
Boh má svoju cirkev protestantskú
and he sends the project First Angel's Message.
a začne ten projekt Prvé anielské posolstvo.
And what is being created?
A čo sa vytvorí?
Problems
Problémy.
and the SDA church.
A cirkev adventistov.
The Protestants come to an end for God's church.
Protestanti prichádzajú ku koncu.
The Seventh-day Adventist continues.
Adventisti pokračujú.
So now we're in the last generation.
Sme v poslednej generácii.
We know that we are Laodicea.
Vieme, že sme Laodicea.
And what does God say?
Čo povie Boh?
Revelation 3.
Zjavenie 3.
What does he counsel Laodicea?
Čo radí Laodicei?
Get yourself cured.
Uzdravte sa,
Why? Because I will spew you out of the mouth.
lebo vás vyplujem zo svojich úst.
Laodicea comes to an end,
Laodicea príde ku koncu,
but God is starting a project.
ale Boh začína
And
projekt.
what does he call that project?
Ako ho nazve?
Church triumphant? Or in this wording, it's Ephesus.
Efezus, alebo cirkev víťazná.
Every time you have a project starting within an establishment, it will cause problems the longer you have it.
Vždy, keď máme nejaký projekt v zriadení, čím dlhšie ho máme, tým viac problémov spôsobí.
Of course, this will cause problems.
Toto spôsobí problémy.
We have been teaching this for years,
Toto sme učili už roky.
based upon the Bible and spirit of prophecy.
Na základe Biblie a ducha prorockého.
But literally for everything we're saying, we have a secular principle now.
Ale všetko, čo hovoríme, máme to potvrdené zo sekulárneho zdroja.
I thought it was so cool.
Mne sa to veľmi páčilo.
I'm trying to wrap up. The next thing I wanted to, we started to talk about Laodicea.
Hovoríme o Laodicei.
And let's talk a little bit more about Laodicea.
Trošku sa porozprávame o tej
If
Laodicei.
you have watched the Australian camp meeting,
Ak ste pozerali camp meeting v Austrálii,
the Germans should watch it. It's all translated in German. There's no excuse that you can't watch it.
Nemci si to môžu pozrieť, je to celé preložené.
Elder Parminder talks about Laodicea and their problem.
Brat Parminder hovorí o Laodicei a ich probléme.
And it's also very clear to us that Christ could have already come back in the time period of the Millerites.
Je veľmi jasné, že Pán Ježiš sa už mohol vrátiť v čase Milleritov.
So he started a project in 1798.
1798 začal projekt,
First angel's message comes.
prišlo prvé anielské posolstvo,
So then we have the close of probation.
potom máme záver milosti,
We also have 1844.
1844,
Here, close of probation. And I'm not sure how much caught up you are.
Nie som si istá, ako ste v tomto obraze.
But in the time period of the
V
Millerites,
čase Milleritov
we suggested that the close of probation would have been the beginning of the Civil War.
sme navrhli, že záver milosti by bol na začiatku
So this would be
občianskej vojny.
1861.
To by bolo 1861.
And then the 7 plagues would have been the actual Civil War.
Tých 7 rán by bola tá občianska vojna.
And we're suggesting Christ could have come back in 1863.
A že Pán Ježiš sa mohol vrátiť v 63.
Ellen White says that Christ could have come way before 1888.
Ellen Whiteová hovorí, že Kristus mohol prísť pred 1888.
And in 1850 she says that she sees people who are alive when Christ comes back.
A v 1850 hovorí, že vidí ľudí, ktorí sú nažive, keď sa Kristus vráti.
So Christ wanted to come back
Kristus sa chcel
in their
vrátiť
time period.
v ich čase.
What does that mean?
Čo to znamená?
It means God would have concluded that project.
Že Boh by ukončil ten projekt.
There's just one problem
Ale jeden problém.
here in 1850.
1850.
Why didn't Christ come back?
Prečo sa Kristus nevrátil?
What happened to the church?
Čo sa stalo cirkvi?
Laodicea.
Vošla do Laodice.
In 1852, Ellen White says the church is already Laodicea for some time.
1852 Whiteová už hovorí, že už je cirkev nejaký čas v Laodicei.
So that's why we mark it in 1850 then, at that waymark.
Preto to dávame na 1850.
So the church is in a Laodicean condition.
Cirkev je v stave Laodice.
Now I will draw the picture Elder Parminder did in Down Under.
Nakreslím teraz ten obrázok, čo urobil brat Parminder.
What's the problem
V
of
čom,
Laodicea?
aký má
What do
Laodicea
they do?
problém? Čo robia?
Where are they supposed to look and where do they actually look to?
Kde sa majú pozerať a kde sa pozerajú?
Where are we supposed to look?
Kde sa my máme pozerať?
We should look up. I'm seeing the finger.
Mali by sme
So
sa pozerať
we
hore,
should look to heaven.
do neba.
But where's Laodicea actually looking to?
Ale kde sa Laodicea pozerá?
To the earth.
Na zem.
Their problem is worldliness.
Ich problém je, že sú
So we have
svetácky.
the world here,
Takže tu máme svet
and they're actually looking here.
a pozerajú sa sem.
What do you think was the goal when God started this project?
Aký myslíte, že bol zámer, keď Pán Boh začal tento projekt?
Where were they supposed to look?
Kde sa mali pozerať?
To heaven.
Do neba.
But where did they look to in 1844?
A kde sa pozerali?
The earth.
1844.
They thought this earth is the sanctuary,
Pozerali sa na zem. Mysleli, že zem je svetiňa.
but the sanctuary is in heaven.
Ale svetiňa je v nebi.
So they looked to the wrong thing.
Pozerali sa na nesprávnu vec.
What does Laodicea mean?
Čo znamená Laodicea?
The definition in Revelation 18 3 is that it's lukewarm.
Teda tá definícia je, že vlažná.
In terms of project management, I would suggest
Ohľadne manažmentu, ja by som
this
povedala,
sounds to me that people were not really motivated.
že ľudia neboli veľmi motivovaní.
You're a part of that project, but you were like, yeah, I don't know.
Ste súčasťou toho projektu, ale tak ste takí vlaky, čo ja viem.
So you're not motivated,
Nie ste motivovaní.
and when you look at project management, it warns you
A keď sa pozrieme na manažment, to nás varuje,
for the close of a project.
že prichádza záver
Close
projektu
of probation,
milosti
or COP can also be close of project.
alebo záver projektu COP.
So the danger when a project comes to its end
To nebezpečie, keď sa blíži záver projektu,
is that people who have been part of that project
je, že ľudia, ktorí boli súčasťou toho projektu,
actually like it. They
uh,
don't want the project to end.
sa im páči a nechcú ani, aby skončil.
Maybe the people had to travel and they like traveling and said, I want to continue doing that.
Možno museli cestovať a sa im to ľúbi, ja by som ešte chcel cestovať.
Or people do not want to return to the old working place.
Alebo sa nechcú vrátiť k tej starej práci pôvodnej.
Or the company is failing to prepare them for the next project.
Alebo tá spoločnosť ich nepripravuje na ďalší projekt.
And this often causes people who are working in that project
A toto spôsobuje, že ľudia, ktorí robia v projekte,
to cause the project to be prolonged.
že sa ten projekt predĺží.
So it could already have been concluded,
Už to mohlo prísť k záveru,
but it's because of the team members that it continues.
ale kvôli tým, ktorí pracujú, tak to pokračuje.
And I suggest that's the problem of Laodicea.
A ja hovorím, že to je problém Laodicei.
Here, they're looking to the world
Pozerajú sa na svet
and they like it too much.
a príliš sa im
We like
páči.
it too much on this earth.
Páči sa im na tomto svete.
We're not looking to heaven.
Nepozerajme na nebo.
Heaven is the end of the project.
To je koniec projektu.
New earth.
Nová zem.
We're not looking to it.
A my na to nepozeráme.
And because we're not looking to it, that's the reason why we're still here.
A pretože na to nepozeráme, sme stále tu.
God is saying, hey, this is my goal.
Toto je môj zámer, povie Boh.
That's why I started that project.
Preto sme začali projekt.
But all you're doing is looking to this earth.
Ale vy stále pozeráte na zem.
You're prolonging my project.
Predĺžujete môj projekt.
It's not me,
To nie ja.
it's you.
Vy.
And that's our problem today.
To je dnešný náš problém.
That's the difference between the reform line of the Millerites and the line of the 144,000.
To je rozdiel medzi líniou Milleritov a 144 000.
The Millerites looked to the earth
Milleriti pozerali na zem
and therefore prolonged the project.
a predĺžili ten projekt.
Christ couldn't come twice
Kristus mohol prísť dvakrát
because of that project,
kvôli tomu projektu,
because of that problem.
tomu problému.
But in this movement,
Ale v tomto hnutí
we're not looking to the earth.
nepozeráme na
We're
zem,
looking to heaven.
pozeráme na nebo.
We're looking to the next project.
Pozeráme na ten ďalší projekt.
God is preparing us for heaven.
Boh nás pripravuje na nebo.
And we will be part of this transition
Budeme súčasťou toho prechodu
of Project Earth,
projektu Zem,
which will be concluded soon.
ktorý čoskoro sa uzavrie.
And we're looking forward to the next project, the New Earth,
A pozeráme na ďalší projekt na novú Zem,
which will never end.
ktorý nikdy neskončí.
We get to enjoy that for the rest of our lives.
Ten sa nám bude páčiť zbytok nášho života.
Which is eternity.
A to je večnosť.
So I hope you understand that.
Dúfam, že tomu rozumiete.
I want to do a couple more things.
Ešte pár vecí chcem spraviť,
Means I might go over time a little bit
Trošku
because I want to
predĺžim,
conclude the subject.
lebo chcem to uzavrieť.
It's again, I want to talk about Project Earth.
Znova chcem hovoriť o tom projekte na Zemi.
I suggest that when Ellen White says on Great Controversy, page 343,
Keď Ellen Whiteová hovorí vo veľkom spore 343,
she says every reformatory movement or reformation or religious movement,
hovorí, že každá reformácia, každé reformné hnutie,
God's dealing with man is ever the same.
Boh robí s ľuďmi vždy rovnako.
They have a striking similarity.
Majú medzi sebou podobnosť.
I suggest that every reformation, every reform line
Každá reformná línia
is a project.
je projekt.
But let's look at the bigger picture now.
Poďme sa pozrieť na ten väčší obraz,
Let's go back to the view where we see that this earth is a project.
kde vidíme, že táto zem je projekt.
So this is, let's call it 6,000 years.
Toto je 6000 rokov.
According to the principles,
Podľa tých princípov,
what does God have to do?
čo musí Boh urobiť?
He has to introduce different phases.
Musí priviesť rôzne fázy.
It's not just one phase for 6,000 years.
Nie len jednu fázu 6000 rokov.
I guess we could look at it that way.
Mohli by sme sa na to tak možno pozrieť.
But it's way more efficient
Ale je efektívnejšie,
if you, again, create these checkpoints.
Keď urobíme tie body kontrolné
and you have these different phases.
a máme rôzne fázy,
And when you look at the world history,
a keď sa pozrieme na dejiny,
these are the reformations taking place in this world history.
to sú reformácie, ktoré sa dejú v týchto dejinách.
You could have Abraham.
Mohli by ste mať
Then you
Abrahama,
have Moses.
Mojžiša,
That you have the call out of Babylon.
povolanie z Babylonu,
Then you have the Christians.
kresťanstvo.
Those are all phases.
To sú všetko tie fázy.
But coming back to the project management,
Vrátim sa k tomu projektu, managementu projektu.
if you come to checkpoint 1,
Keď prídeme k prvému bodu kontrolnému,
is the project done?
je ten projekt hotový?
No.
Nie.
You just have a checklist, all what you wanted to have done at checkpoint 1.
To sa tak odfajfknete, že čo by ste chceli urobiť.
You check these off if you can tick the boxes.
Toto si
But the project is not concluded.
odfajfkneme, ale ešte to
And it's the same
neskončilo.
with this world history.
Takto je to aj s dejinami.
And I want to suggest that this is an answer
A ja by som chcela povedať, že toto je
to
odpoveď
the questions as well as accusations we are facing
na otázky aj tie
about, for
obvinenia,
example,
ktorým čelíme
slavery,
ohľadne otroctva,
women's ordination.
ordinácii
Can
žien,
women wear pants?
či ženy môžu nosiť nohavice,
How are we to wear clothes?
ako sa máme obliekať,
Why are we to, what can we eat, what not, and so on.
čo môžeme jesť, čo nie.
Only that when in the Christian dispensation, Paul endorses or talks about slavery,
Keď Pavol hovorí o otroctve
and endorses that the man is the head of the family,
a vlastne zdôrazňuje,
and women are to subdue themselves,
že muž je hlava rodiny a žena sa má
it
podriadiť,
doesn't mean that this is for the rest of the project like that.
to neznamená, že to v celom projekte takto má byť.
God has a phase, the Christian dispensation,
Boh je v určitej fáze kresťanskej epochy
and he says in that reformation, I want to meet this and this goal.
a hovorí, že tu chcem dosiahnuť tento a tento cieľ.
In the next phase, I have this and this and this goal.
V ďalšej fáze mám túto a tento
And I
cieľ.
think this is how we need to approach these subjects.
A myslím, že takto musíme prísť k týmto témam.
That's why when we come to the Millerites,
Preto, keď prídeme k Milleritom,
Ellen White says we need to end slavery.
musíme ukončiť otroctvo.
She speaks differently than Paul does.
Inak hovorí ako Pavol.
We again speak differently than Ellen White did,
A my hovoríme inak, ako hovorila Whiteová.
just because we're in a different phase.
Lebo sme v inej fáze.
We could call it also a different dispensation.
V inom období.
God has different checkpoints for us than he did for different dispensation in the past.
Boh má pre nás rôzne tie kontrolné otázky, iné ako mal v tých predtým.
Yet it's still the same principles. The laws remain the same.
Ale tie zákony zostávajú rovnaké.
So I suggest that this is even a way how we can answer the questions and accusations about dispensationalism.
Takto môžeme odpovedať aj na otázky ohľadne období.
So that's why, for example, Ellen White talks about public evangelism.
Preto on Whiteová hovorí o verejnej evangelizácii.
And we say it's not the time to do that now.
A my povieme, na to teraz nie je čas.
She says women need to subdue their husband
Ona povie, ženy sa musia podvoliť mužom
and not wear pants
a
and just
nenosiť
wear
nohavice,
dresses.
ale nosiť čaty.
And we say we're in a different
A my
dispensation.
povieme, sme už v inom období.
So what I would like to point out is
Čo by som chcela ukázať,
that it's very important for us to know
že je veľmi dôležité pre nás
what our boxes are for our dispensation.
vedieť, ktoré sú tie naše obdobia alebo tie fázy.
What does God want to accomplish in our
Čo
dispensation?
chce Boh v našej fáze dosiahnuť, v našom období.
And it's already clear.
Už je to jasné.
No discrimination
Žiadna diskriminácia
based on nationality,
na základe národnosti,
race,
rasy,
or gender.
pohlavia.
are the boxes we need to tick.
Toto sú tie také body,
And
ktoré
we're
musíme
working
splniť.
towards it.
My voči
But
tomu
the problem
pracujeme.
is the test of leadership.
Ale problém je skúška vodcovstva.
Not everyone is happy with the boxes God gives us.
Nie každému sa páčia tie kolónky, ktoré nám Pán Boh dal.
Two last things.
Dve posledné veci.
First, we talk often about line of failure and success.
Hovoríme o línii
Coming
zlyhania
back one more,
a
I think
línii
it fits now.
a
So
línii
sorry, I'm
úspechu.
getting back now.
Pardon, troška sa ešte vrátim.
We say God has boxes we need to tick in every dispensation.
My hovoríme, že Boh má určité kolónky, ktoré musíme splniť v každej epoche.
At the beginning, I said every project is unique.
Na začiatku som povedala, že každý projekt je jedinečný.
And it always has an element of time.
A vždy tam je element času.
A specific work is to be given.
Musí byť
The work is to be done.
určité dielo spravené
And organization is essential.
a je dôležitá organizácia.
When God starts a project,
Keď Boh začne projekt,
He needs organization.
potrebuje organizáciu.
It's essential.
To je dôležitá.
That's why this movement is organizing itself.
Preto aj toto hnutie sa organizuje.
It's just following secular rules even.
To vedia aj to sú
Which
sekulárne pravidlá.
essentially, I think, are the rules of God.
Ja si myslím, že sú od Boha.
But in this phase here, in the beginning, in this kick-off phase,
V tejto fáze začiatku
you're setting the rules for that project.
sa robia pravidlá pre ten projekt.
What does that mean?
Čo to znamená?
That's Hebrews 7.
To je Židom 7.
What did Christ what did Christ do when he came?
Čo Kristus urobil, keď prišiel?
He changed the law.
Zmenil zákon.
That's the order of Melchizedek.
Podľa
Is
poriadku
that right?
Melchizedekovho.
Say again. In English, Melchizedek. There you go. I think there's no English-speaking person here, so we can make mistakes. Okay, so the law is being changed.
Zmenil zákon.
Christ changed the law.
Kristus ho zmenil.
Beforehand, they were sacrificing.
Predtým robili obete,
They were circumcising.
Obrezávali.
And then John the Baptist comes out of nowhere.
Príde si Jan Krstiteľ od nikadiaľ.
He's no special person.
On není žiaden
And he says, by the
zaujímavý.
way,
A on povie,
your law is not good.
tento zákon už neplatí,
It
nie je
doesn't do
dobrý,
anything for you.
už nič pre vás neurobí.
I'm saying something new. You need to be baptized.
Musíte sa pokrstiť.
Otherwise, you will end.
Inak bude s vami koniec.
You will die.
Zomriete.
John the Baptist
Jan Krstiteľ
started to change the law for that dispensation.
začal meniť zákon pre túto epochu.
And Christ did so too.
A tiež aj Kristus.
What are we expecting for our timeline?
Čo my očakávame v našej línii?
Also in our timeline, the law changes.
Aj u nás sa mení zákon.
We could say women's ordination, for example,
Môžeme povedať ordinácia žien napríklad.
or other things.
A
But
iné veci.
just wanted to bring across the principle.
To som len chcela ukázať ten princíp.
So back to the line of failure and success.
Takže naspäť k tej línii úspechu a
It's
zlyhania.
completely normal that when you have a project,
Keď máte projekt,
not everything always goes right.
nie všetko sa podarí tak, jak má.
Sometimes things happen
Niekedy sa stanú veci,
which were not really planned.
ktoré neboli plánované.
And then what is being done
A to, čo sa potom urobí,
is that depending of the mistake which was done,
závisiac od chyby, ktorá sa stala,
you look at the mistake,
pozriete sa na tú chybu
then you analyze it, how it got to that mistake,
a analyzujete to, jak ste sa k tomu dostali
and you plan that this mistake never happens again.
a plánujete, že toto už sa nesmie stať znovu.
And I suggest it's the same with reform lines.
Rovnako je to s reformnými líniami.
We look back to the Millerites.
Pozrieme sa naspäť k
We
Milleritom.
see something went wrong here.
Vidíme, že niečo sa tu nepodarilo.
Line of failure.
To je línia zlyhania.
We need to analyze it.
Musíme to analyzovať,
We need to see what went wrong
čo sa tam pochybilo,
so we don't do the same mistake.
aby sme neurobili tú istú chybu.
That we don't have failure but success.
Aby sme nemali zlyhanie, ale úspech.
And we can bring that even closer to our reform
A to
line.
môžeme priniesť bližšie aj v našej reformnej línii.
Elder Parminder spoke about 2012
Brat Parminder hovoril o 2012,
and 14.
14.
Things could have been much different if the entire movement, the leadership, would have accepted that message.
Veci mohli byť inak, ak by celé hnutie aj vedenie to posolstvo prijalo.
It was a failure.
Bolo to zlyhanie.
What do we need to do?
Čo my musíme spraviť?
Go back,
Vrátiť sa,
analyze it.
analyzovať,
What happened?
čo sa stalo
Make sure that we do not make the same mistake again.
a uistiť sa, že sa už tá istá chyba nestane znovu.
And it's sad to see that many people
Je smutné vidieť, že mnoho ľudí,
who proclaim to be part of this movement
ktorí hovoria, že sú súčasťou tohto hnutia,
make the same mistake over and over again.
robia tie isté chyby znovu a znovu.
Paul said, these are written as an examples for us.
Pavol povedal, že toto je nám napísané na
Why
príklad.
do we need examples?
Prečo potrebujeme príklad?
So we learn from it.
Aby sme sa z toho mohli naučiť.
Let's learn from our history and do it better.
Poďme sa naučiť z našich dejín a urobiť ich lepšími.
To be successful, it depends on us
Aby sme boli úspešní, to závisí na nás.
and where we look to.
A kde sa
And
pozeráme.
it also depends on the way we do it,
A tiež na spôsobe, ako to robíme.
not just the conclusion.
Nie iba na závere.
Last point.
Posledná vec.
We said here at the end,
Povedali sme, že tu na konci,
the end of the project, you have three steps.
na konci projektu máme 3 kroky.
First, you come to the end of the work of the project.
Prídeme k záveru toho projektu,
Then you analyze it, and then you dissolve the team. So to
potom to
speak.
analyzujeme a potom rozpustíme tým.
When can you analyze something?
A kedy môžeme niečo
What do
analyzovať?
you need?
Čo na to potrebujeme?
You need information.
Informáciu?
So in 1,000 years, where is the information?
V
Where do we get it from?
tých 1000 rokoch, kde je tá informácia?
The books.
V knihách.
So something was written in the books.
Niečo sa napísalo do tých kníh.
So when you do project management,
Keď robíte management projektový,
it talks again about this phase.
tu hovorí o tej fáze,
They suggest that it's very important
je dôležité,
that you trace the record of your project through the entire time.
aby ste vystopovali ten záznam toho projektu za celý ten čas.
Berichte drüber schreiben. So you come to a waymark and you milestone and you say we concluded this and this was the difficulty, this went well.
Prídete k milníku a porozmýšľate, toto boli problémy, toto išlo dobre,
Did we reach the budget or was the time good or
dobre
whatever.
bolo časovanie, aký bol rozpočet.
But it's important that every department of the project actually writes down the work.
Ale je dôležité, že sa zapisuje tá práca. Každé oddelenie si zaznamenáva.
And only when that is done,
A keď sa toto deje,
at the end you can do a good analysis.
na konci môže byť dobrá analýza.
What do we call this here, the 1,000 years?
Čo nazývame týchto 1000 rokov?
It's judgment,
Je
right?
to súd.
And what do we often also talk about?
A o čom často hovoríme?
That's the judgment of the wicked. What do
Súd
we often talk about?
Súd bezbožných.
The judgment of the dead and the living saints, right?
My často hovoríme o súde zomretých a
I'm not sure
živých
if
svätých.
in what presentation it was.
Neviem, v ktorej prezentácii to bolo.
I think it was on Sabbath where camp meeting hadn't started yet.
Myslím, že to bolo v sobotu.
But Elder Parminder spoke about the judgment of the living.
Brat Parminder hovoril o súde nad živými.
And you go and watch the classes then.
Môžete si to pozrieť.
You will find that he said if you open the books and investigate them,
Keď otvoríte knihy a budete vyšetrovať,
something first had to be written in there.
najprv sa tam niečo muselo napísať.
So before the living can be judged,
Predtým, ako žijúci môžu byť súdení,
first there needs to be a record taken.
musí sa o nich spraviť záznam.
And I thought we even find that in project management.
Myslím, že aj toto je v manažmente.
Because we, from the project, you always write down the record.
Z projektu vždy zapisujeme to, čo sa deje, čo treba.
And later on you analyze that record.
A neskôr to analyzujeme.
God also takes a record.
Boh tiež berie rekord,
And we know that the judgment of the living begins at the Sunday law.
alebo záznam, a vieme, že súd nad živými začína pri nedeľnom zákone.
The books are being opened
Knihy sú otvorené
and the record is being checked,
a kontroluje sa ten záznam.
analyzed.
Analyzuje.
But beforehand there needs to be taken a record.
Ale predtým musí byť
We started at
záznam.
9/11 for the priests.
Takže 9.11 pre
And we know
kňazov
that the Sunday law,
a nedeľný
or where
zákon,
the books are being
kedy
opened
sú otvorené knihy
for the group of the priests,
pre kňazov,
is in 2014.
je 2014.
So I hope I didn't confuse anyone with that last thought.
Dúfam, že som s týmto nikoho nezmietla.
But I thought it's helpful if
Nezmiatla?
you study vow number, I think 21,
Ale je to dobré, keď budete študovať 21. slub
as well as when you watch the two classes Brother Parminder had done on Sabbath.
a tiež keď si pozriete tie dve prednášky, čo urobil brat Parminder v sobotu.
So I hope this little study here
Dúfam, že toto malé štúdium tu
and the secular principles we looked at
a tie sekulárne princípy, na ktoré sme sa
on how
pozreli,
you have an efficient, healthy project
o tom, ako môžeme mať efektívny, dobrý projekt,
help us to realize what reform lines are.
nám pomôžu uvedomiť si, čo sú reformné línie,
What's their purpose?
aký je ich zámer.
For me, it showed how efficient and organized God is.
Mne to ukazuje, aký je Boh efektívny a zorganizovaný.
And we shouldn't complain
A nemali by sme sa sťažovať,
because we see only this much of the project
lebo my vidíme z toho len toto.
and he sees the bigger picture.
A on vidí ten
We
väčší.
just need to make sure that we know what our work is
On vie, čo je naša práca, čo je
And
naše
then do
dielo.
it. Let's close with a word of prayer.
Uzavrieme to s modlitbou.
Dear Father in heaven,
Drahý nebeský
we
Otče,
thank you that we are able to come here together and study.
ďakujeme Ti za to, že sme mohli toto študovať.
Lord, we thank you that you show us how you are.
Ďakujeme Ti, že nám ukazuješ, aký si.
You are very organized and efficient.
Si zorganizovaný a
You abide
efektívny
by rules.
a
And if we get to know these rules,
funguješ podľa
we
pravidiel.
get to know you more.
My ťa spoznávame lepšie.
Lord, we help you that these rules, we ask you that you help us to understand these rules
Prosíme ťa, aby si nám pomohol rozumieť týmto pravidlám,
and these principles.
princípom.
Please show us what our task is in this time
Prosím, ukáž nám, čo je naša úloha v tejto dobe.
and that we do this work,
A keď to budeme robiť,
that we are a faithful servant.
že budeme verní
And that at the
služobníci.
end,
A potom na konci,
when the project is analyzed,
keď sa
that we're
analyzuje
not
projekt,
found wanting,
aby sme neboli nájdení ľahkí,
but that we were a faithful servant.
ale aby sme boli verní služobníci.
Lord, help us to look to heaven
Prosím, pomôž nám pozerať na
and
nebo
not to the earth.
a nie na zem.
We've been too long here.
Už sme tu boli moc dlho.
In Jesus' name we thank
V
you.
mene Ježiša Ti ďakujeme.
Amen.
Amen.